The following program comes from executive producer Lilian Garcia. Every athlete is on this quest. Every performer dives in head first, battling real-life challenges and overcoming obstacles in an effort to make their dreams reality. Singer, speaker, and 15-year WWE host Lilian Garcia was the first woman to ever announce WrestleMania and is now the PFL MMA cage announcer. Oh, yeah! And now she's giving you an all-access pass to the human interest stories of elite athletes, extraordinary entertainers, and wellness experts. Now, let's embark on another fascinating journey of chasing glory with your host, Lilian Garcia.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Chasing Glory. It is Monday morning, Monday motivation coming your way. So excited to have you guys here. If it's your first time joining me, welcome. If you've been a long-time listener, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me each and every weekend. And now it's so exciting because we're on YouTube. You can actually see the video. That's right, of Chasing Glory. So all you have to do is go to youtube.com/Lilian Garcia. Make sure you spell Lilian with one L in the middle. All right, so we have a great show heading your way. And of course, I had to record this before SummerSlam. So even though this is airing after SummerSlam, and I have no idea what's happened, I have to talk to you like it's after, but it's really before and, well, whatever. Anyway, my guest today. So excited to introduce to him because you guys know him very well. And I was just with him at Raw Reunion. This man makes me glow. That's the best way to put it. Every time I'm in his presence, I just smile. He's awesome. He is none other than Santino Marella. Just I mean, really, like that's all you can think of, all these funny things that he did in the show. Provided such a comic relief to WWE, and it was just incredible to watch him. And I'm just so thankful that I can still have him in my life. And we talked a lot afterwards about MMA and the fact that I'm working for the PFL now, the Professional Fighters League, and how much he loves MMA because he is a judo guy. He got to meet Kayla Harrison backstage, and she's big in judo. She was an Olympic gold medalist twice in judo and is now fighting for the Professional Fighters League. She is now going to the playoffs. So, yeah, it was just good to talk to him about wrestling and also about MMA, how much he loves it. So before getting into his episode, just want to remind you, you can follow the show at Chasing Glory Podcast on Instagram and Lilian Garcia on Instagram and Twitter, and Lilian Garcia official fan page on Facebook. And don't forget by YouTube. Spread the word. Make sure you guys subscribe to the show. Keep those reviews coming. And don't forget that on Thursdays, soon, I'll tell you exactly when, I'll be doing Thursday, like bite-sized Thursdays, where I'm just going to be sharing some of my thoughts with you. Until then, without further ado, here is Santino Marella's journey of chasing glory. Although he has an extensive athletic background, the world will always recognize Santino Marella for his impeccable comedic timing and bringing laughter to sports entertainment. Born in Ontario, Canada, with an Italian heritage, Santino would grow up a wrestling fan and would attend numerous shows with his father. He would also practice judo at a young age, as well as wrestle in high school and even won a few tournaments as a junior and senior. He would continue training in MMA and would add pro wrestling to his regime and began performing in the Ontario independent wrestling scene. After a stint in Japan, Santino would take a gamble on himself and travel to Louisville, Kentucky to continue his training at Ohio Valley Wrestling, where he caught the eye of WWE officials and would get signed to a developmental contract. Santino's biggest opportunity would come live from Milan, Italy, where he was handpicked from the audience by the chairman himself, Vince McMahon, to face Umaga for the Intercontinental Championship. With an assist from Bobby Lashley, Santino defeated Umaga to become the new champion in one of the most memorable moments in the history of Monday Night Raw, which is forever dubbed the Milan Miracle. For the next few years, the world would get to see Santino as more than just a wrestler with his sharp sense of humor and ability to make the audience laugh. His memorable segments with Hall of Famers Ron Simmons and Stone Cold Steve Austin are still being talked about, and of course, who can forget his WrestleMania victory as his twin sister, Santino Marella. Santino is no stranger to WWE Gold, having won the Intercontinental Championship twice, as well as the United States title, and teaming with Vladimir Kozlov as Tag Team Champion. He was a constant fixture on WWE programming and was pivotal in providing comedic relief with his crazy antics, which led him to a role in the movie Jingle All the Way alongside Larry the Cable Guy. Although injuries would cut his career short, he would continue to give back to pro wrestling by opening up a gym called Battle Arts Academy, which he runs with his wife, where people can train in both MMA and pro wrestling. He would recently return to the ring for the Battle Arts promotion, in addition to recently also appearing at Raw Reunion. Santino has a beautiful daughter and son and promises to stay active in the gym and in the ring to ensure that he lives his life exactly how he wants to live it. It's about to get real, raw, and inspiring with Santino Marella. All right, I'm so excited to have the man that's made me laugh so much in the WWE, Santino Marella. Welcome to Chasing Glory.
Thank you very much for having me.
Oh, man, you are seriously one of the funniest guys I have ever come across. Every time I see you, I just want to smile so big. Has that always been the issue with you? Like growing up, with friends, like do people just find you funny all the time?
Yeah, I guess, when I was younger. Well, you know what? Actually, I came from a really funny group of like classmates. We've been together since we were grade 2, and we just always were laughing. In high school, we're just joking constantly. All I think of high school is like cracking up in the cafeteria. We were just always really funny guys. And then it's funny because, then I go on the road and I become Santino and all that stuff. And my friends back home, they're like, you're just saying our old jokes from high school.
And you're making money off of it, damn it.
No one else is using them.
No, but that's the thing, is your spirit. You just have the spirit about you. It's just so infectious. I love it, Santino. You're just, when anybody asks me like some of my favorite people, you're definitely in there because of that. Because of,
oh, thank you.
Seriously, there's just something about you. I just want to be around you all the time. And boy, did we laugh backstage so much.
Yeah, we had so many laughs and good times. It was just, and I was thinking about it today. I was riding my bike to the gym, and I'm like, there's definitely a personality link that we all share about just realizing, you know what? It's one life. Why not do something that's fun, And we all like, obviously, to have fun. So when those people are all around each other, it's fun times,
Yeah. Speaking of, you just remind me, like backstage, like I said, we would laugh and all. There's a lot of people too that have, because it is an intense environment, right? You've got so many people that are trying to climb the ladder and so many people that are trying to get noticed. To me, I always say it's kind of it's a career of egos. Let's not sugarcoat it, right? People are trying to get attention. People are trying to get, their way of performing, and it's something that they absolutely love. We all do, but it is an ego-driven career because of the fans and working on and off of that. Did you get frustrated backstage at all, or are you pretty much even keel?
No, I think that was actually one of the things that made me different. Was I wasn't a guy that had a massive ego. And I think that's what was refreshing for even some people. Like, for example, a lot of the guys, I'm their wives' favorite, or I'm someone's grandmother's favorite, because everyone's just, putting on that macho, badass, cool guy. This guy is not even trying to do that. He's just having fun and being silly. And I think that's what made me stand out as a character, and I think as a person too. Because I remember backstage, and there's guys that were unhappy with how, not being top guys or whatever. And I said, dude, we're professional wrestlers for a living. Like, it's all good, man. It's all good.
Yeah, and you had such a great career. For you, I was on the road for 10 years, then I took off. I thought I was done. I came back after 2 years. But in that 2-year lull that I wasn't there, I was still watching. And I watched you win the championship. Oh my God, Milan, Italy, Monday Night Raw. Santino was blown away, and I didn't know you. So I'm like, wait, what just happened? This guy out of nowhere just won the Intercontinental Championship. Like, what's going on? So I was a fan just like everybody else. What a moment though. I look and the people were going crazy. And because you are of Italian descent, what did that mean to you?
Man, yeah, it was nuts. I mean, I was at OVW, and I was this character, Boris. I was this Russian character, and I was driving to a live event, and my phone rings, and it was Mike Bucci. And he's like, Boris. He's not, he gets a bad accent, Mike Bucci, but he's like from New York or New Jersey. He goes, Boris, you're really Italian, right? And I go, yeah. And a few weeks before, Dusty Rhodes had come to OVW. So he called this guy and said, Jack Bull, he was in OVW, and said, can you ride a motorcycle? And Jack Bull thought it was somebody doing a Dusty impersonation, and he was ribbing him. He goes, nope. And Dusty's like, well, can you learn to ride a motorcycle? Nope. And he's like, okay, whatever. And then he sees the 203 area code, and the guy's like, that may have been Dusty Rhodes. So they had a laugh about it. I mean, it was really like the opportunity didn't come around again. So it was actually really bad because he was going to get called up and maybe do something with Undertaker as one of his motorcycle buddies.
Wow.
So Dusty Rhodes came to OVW and said, if anybody asks you, can you do this? You're like, absolutely, yeah. And then you better obviously figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
So they called, and I couldn't really speak Italian very well. When I used to drive to downtown Toronto, I worked downtown for 1 year. So I was in like morning traffic, hour and 15 minutes every morning for 1 year. And I used to put an audio tape of Italian, tourist Italian. Because I always wanted to speak more Italian.
Yeah.
And I memorized the tape. I listened to it every day in traffic, and I memorized the whole tape. So I didn't really know to speak Italian, but I can say things on the tape.
Okay.
And when they called, they're like, you're Italian, right? Can you say something in Italian? So I just said, I go, vorrei un mezzo chilo di formaggio, which means I want to buy a half kilo of cheese. And it was on the tape,
Yeah.
And
it sounds so sexy.
Yeah, it sounded good. And then I said, but I could hear them looking around at each other going, I don't know, it sounded pretty good.
Yeah.
They're like writers or something. So that was it. They flew. I said another phrase, and they were sold, So they flew me to Italy, and then that happened on TV like the night before. So that happened like 2 days later. So I'm driving. Next day they fly me out. I arrive on Saturday. I got the phone call Friday, flew out Saturday, landed Sunday because the
right.
day, and debuted Monday. So it was like a crazy whirlwind of like, what just happened here? And
right.
I didn't even believe it right up until it happened. I'm like, I'm thinking, I didn't want to almost believe it. And then something changes last minute. You're like, no.
Right.
But yeah, it happened. And that was it. Hold on tight. Here we go. 10 years later, right?
Do you remember the feeling of what that was like, being in the middle of the ring with Italy going crazy? Describe that.
Yeah. I was actually talking about it to Shane McMahon a couple weeks at Raw, a couple weeks ago. And, we both believe in things like, the energy that people have and the power of attention and all this stuff. And when you're in an arena and the way the seats are all designed, they're all converging at one focal point, and you're that focal point. And the energy from the kinetic energy from the attention, I swear it changed my molecular. I've felt different every single day, even when I'm not competing. It altered something, man. It was just, you're so fully super saturated with this kinetic energy that it changes you forever.
Wow, Santino, I've never even heard it put that way, but you're right. There is something. Antenna. I think that's exactly why it becomes so addicting.
Yeah.
I never.
The cells are supercharged with energy.
Geez, this whole time, it's kind of like what I was saying earlier, right? I thought it was like ego driven or whatever, but I think you're absolutely right. There's such an energy that's coming at you from that performance. Yeah, from all directions, that it really does become a drug. It's something that you're feeling that you're like, wow, I just don't want to let this go. It's whoa.
Yeah. And your body is made up of energy, right? Your cells rotate energy. And this is real energy, like radio waves coming at you. It changes you for sure. But what's funny? So when I was in high school, my buddies used to joke and call me center stage because I always wanted to be the center.
Yeah.
But after this moment, never really had that desire ever again because it was so fully and completely fulfilled that, you know,
Wow.
I don't have to be the center of attention anymore. I was the ultimate center of attention for that moment, you know?
Yeah, that's wild. Wow, because you would think that people, you crave it more and more and more and more and more.
You know, so, yeah, it's funny because I was pretty sure I was good with it walking away. In the end, I was kind of over it a bit. And, and then last week at Raw, I'm like, damn, like it's been a while. This is pretty spectacular, this feeling out here of the collective energy from the audience. And, you know, like a mania, right? When
Yeah.
80,000, 90,000, it's crazy.
Yeah. Speaking of that, Monday Night Raw, you're talking about, it was so nice to see you and so nice to be a part of
Yeah,
that
it was awesome.
as we were all lined up on stage, right? Because Ron Simmons was to my left and I had RVD on my right.
Yeah.
And we were sitting there talking to each other the whole time that we were looking out, and the fans were just throwing so much support
Yeah.
and love at us that it was like, wow. And Ron, just the whole time was just like, wow, feel that. Wow, feel
Oh,
that.
awesome. See, that's cool that even someone like Ron Simmons soaks it up, you know?
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, even RVD, like we were just, he was, Rob, he just
Yeah.
shakes his head, just shakes his head
Yeah.
and looks around. And
And sometimes he'll go, right,
yeah,
right.
exactly, right? So that's all he was doing, just looking around and shaking his head and just soaking it in. We definitely, wow. So for you, that was really great, right? To come back.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, I'm still a wrestling fan. I show up, you know, Ric Flair is there and Stone Cold and even just everybody that was in the real Boogeyman, Booker T, Shane, Fit Finley, everybody was there. And I'm like, this is awesome, man. Because you almost forget your buddies with them, right? These are my
Yeah.
friends, but these are people like, you know, you looked up to as well.
Yeah. But you know what? It's one of those things that once you've been in there and you form such a relationship with people, even this is the way I describe it, even though we haven't seen each other in a while, we come together and immediately it's almost like we are family.
Big pops.
You
Yeah.
know, yeah, it's like you
Big
feel this
pop.
connection,
Oh!
right? You feel this connection, this love. And like if I would see you at an airport, for example, out of the blue, I would feel like I saw my brother.
Yeah, yeah. It's,
You know,
you know, I was telling somebody, high school is like 4 years. And, you know, you see them just during the day. But then you're on the road with someone for 10 years and you see them every single day. And
yeah.
for like 3 weeks at a time. So that's even way more than high school, you know, in terms of the bonds.
True. That is so true. So for you, what was your favorite part of the road?
Probably European tours.
Yeah. Oh my God. Oh my God. You just reminded me.
Uh-oh.
You and I and a whole bunch of other people. I remember we were in Europe, but I don't remember what city we were in. But
Madrid.
what was it?
When we discovered that underground crazy club
Oh,
in
that's the
Madrid.
other one. Oh, there's been
Oh,
a few. But yeah, you're right. We were in Madrid. Oh my God, where I grew up. And of course, I left when I was 8, and you guys are looking at me like, where are the clubs? You don't hook up straight. And I'm like, dude, I was 8 and under when I lived here. But I remember that this one guy said, okay, let's go to this bar or go to this bar or whatever. So we went to the bar and it was like, this is not what we're looking for.
yeah. We
It
went
was
to
just
like
like a
4, and they were all duds, right? And
total
then,
duds.
and the streets looked like they were empty. And we're like, what the
Yeah.
hell's going on? It's boring. And then we saw one guy in a suit standing in front of a door. It looked like maybe he had a clipboard and an earpiece.
Yeah.
And the door, and it was like another world in there. It was crazy.
I remember we started when we first walked in, it didn't look we saw some lights, but it didn't look like much. But when we started going down the stairs
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden
Circle.
it opened up into this massive room with people just popping and lights. You and I looked at each other and it was like kids in a candy store. We're like, oh my God, how do we get down there? How do we get down?
Yes. Well, what's the quickest way down? But it goes to show, though, the architecture of the old buildings, because that music was pumping, and you're just outside on the street, and you can't hear a thing.
Nothing.
It's crazy.
Nothing, which is why we were like, wait, where's the action? I do remember that one. And then I remember there was another one, but I don't remember where we were, but I remember we went to a club and we danced and we danced and we danced. And next thing you knew, we all walked out. We were getting on the plane the next day. The tour was over and we walked out and there was daylight. We're like, oh my God.
Right.
But I don't remember. I can't remember if it was Australia or I don't know, somewhere
Yeah, I remember
on
one
those
time
tours.
in Lisbon, Portugal, too, because you know it's nice when people go out in little groups sometimes, right? 3 here, 4 there, but
Yeah.
but these tours we go out in larger numbers. So
Yes.
that's why that's good memories, because you went with like 12 guys instead of like just your usual 3 or 4.
Yeah. Yeah. I just remember you like moving all the furniture and it was Santino time dancing.
Oh God,
Man, the good times. All
yeah.
right. So I want to get to know you better as a person. Like, who is Santino? You obviously you grew up from Canada. I married a Canadian. Go
Yeah,
Canada.
yeah, yeah.
Good people. Very good people. Tell me, what was life for you growing up? You've got brothers and sisters?
Yeah, yeah. Um, I was this really weird convergence. It's very interesting. So, just my dad's from Italy, and I grew up, and he was like an immigrant kid, a city boy, and my
Okay.
mom was this country girl. She's Métis, which is French Canadian Native Indian, from a town of like just few thousand, and I ended up being like this combination suburban kid, right? So you have, which is it's okay because Canada is like, I think the city of Toronto, more than about 50% of the population of the city are immigrants. So I'm half immigrant, just like that.
Yeah.
And then 2 significant population groups are Indigenous people and French Canadian people, and that's my mom's side. So I'm really like a representation of the Canadian population, and I live in just right beside Toronto on Lake Ontario, at one of the best times possible, because being a first generation Canadian has it's very interesting. All my friends were first generation Canadians. So all
Okay.
their parents were from Greece, Portugal, Malta, Poland,
Wow.
Croatia, and they were all the first of their family to be born in Canada. So it's an interesting generation that I was a part of, to be that first generation. Um, and then the time, born in 74, made it through high school with no internet,
Oh,
with
there you
no
go.
cell phones. It was like real freedom. It was like an 80s movie, with just freedom. It was crazy. And then, I went to, I competed in judo my whole life.
Yeah,
As
you
it
started at 9, right?
started at 9, yeah.
Wow.
And
Why judo?
fluke, man. It was a real fluke. Like, I saw Bruce Lee movies and stuff, and I wanted to take martial arts, and my mom happened to sign me up to judo. She didn't know the difference of anything, right? Taekwondo, karate, judo, and that was it. It gets in your blood, and you grew up being an athlete, a part of the Judo Ontario and Judo Canada, and lots of tournaments, and it was a whole nother life outside of the regular kind of high school life and stuff like that. And it was great. And then I went to university, but I went to Montreal for university because that's where the national team trained as well. And then I had a baby in the middle of university, and as my
Wow.
daughter. Yeah,
I know she's beautiful, by the way.
yeah.
She's gorgeous. And just such a beautiful soul. Was that hard for you though? I mean, obviously it was a surprise. Yes.
Kind of, but it wasn't too much of a surprise. But it was, when I look back, I'm like, how the hell did I do that? I graduated, and still was trying to compete and hold on to my national team status, and have this little baby and everything. It's been interesting since early on, and then graduate, um, work in the professional world a little bit, which I thought was really helpful in terms of me becoming more professional.
What did you
And
do? Jobs like what?
yeah, I worked in the telecom industry for like a couple of years.
Mm.
Uh, this is like in the like 99, 2000. And then we
Calling
went,
people like telemarketers?
no, like I was an account manager remember, okay, before when you go to university, you had to sign up for a long distance package, because there was no
No.
unlimited long distance and stuff.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So I was like the account manager of the residents, like the university dormitories and their long distance plans and all that stuff. And it was just, but it was a formal big telecom corporation. It was really good to get in boardrooms and meetings and see the protocols within an office place. It was very good for me. And then I worked for a media company, and then I did a lot of everything, like everything, restaurants and bars and nightclubs and more restaurants and just everything. I worked for a singing telegram company.
You did?
When I was in university, I was a Power Ranger.
I love that. I can
Yeah.
imagine you with your personality, how
Oh my
great
God.
you were at that.
It was so embarrassing. I had to walk up to the front of the house in this green spandex costume with a big helmet and everything. But all this stuff really, so I started my professional wrestling training late. I was 28.
Oh,
And
wow.
I mean, there's guys that have over 10 years experience already at 28 years old. And, but luckily because of judo, it helped me fast track the physical parts.
Right.
But, you know, I didn't know how to be a wrestler. I went to a school, there was like 4 guys, and it wasn't even a real school. It was just like, he takes on new students like once every few years, you know, Don Koloff, and but again, I got lucky there because he was a former, you know, world-class amateur wrestler from Bulgaria. So he knew how to kind of slow down my judo a little bit so I can work a little better. And, but we didn't, you know, I finally got like an indie match, you know, after like a year of training. And then I had like 6 indie matches, and I realized, man, there's nothing going on around here. I got to get out of here. Like this, no one's going to find me. No one's looking for me.
Yeah.
So, we had to pack up and go. And the only connection we had at the time was a connection in Japan at this place called Battle Arts. So, I mean, God, my daughter was 8, and I had to sit her down and explain, like, Daddy has to go on a mission, and I'm going to be back, like, you know, crazy.
Yeah.
And we packed up and we moved there. And I was there for like 9 months. Like, you know, I'd come home to kind of reset my visa and stuff sometimes, and just trying to figure it out. I thought if I went to Japan and I was popular enough, or, you know, people heard of me enough that they would recruit me back home, kind of thing. Because I heard that it worked for someone like that. But because judo is Japanese and judo is very respected over in Japan, it kind of gave me a little bit of a boost back in Japan in terms of a starting point. And then it's this crazy sequence of events. Like, I overstayed one of my tourist visas in Japan, and I didn't realize how serious that was.
Oh, wow.
I was banned from Japan.
What?
Like a year. I'm like, I had an apartment, I had a scooter. I was doing extra work for commercials and TV shows, and I was trying to wrestle and all this kind. I mean, my life was there I thought I was going to be there for at least a couple of years. And then I came home and I heard about OVW. So if I didn't get kicked out of Japan, I wouldn't even look for OVW.
Oh, wow.
OVW was the place where, you know, I went there and I met Rip Rogers, and I had to learn how to wrestle like WWE style from scratch. But now I'm 31, and like, it's like we're behind the clock already.
So mentally, you were feeling that.
A little pressure. I knew I was good at this. I knew I had you know, I didn't want to be the guy that, because I have some students that don't know that they're bad too, right? But I didn't want to be that guy. And I'm like, I think I'm better than everybody at this. I think I'm really good at this. Like, I think, you know, and you know, then you have to believe in yourself and say, okay, we're going to do it. So yeah, I went to OVW I was there for 2 years, and it's a 9.5 hour drive. So I came home from time to time, but, you know, we just pushed it and pushed it and pushed it. And I trained like 3 times a day, and I trained with Rip Rogers in the morning and Al Snow at night. And I go to the gym, and again, I was away from home. I mean, my daughter would come with me. Like, she came with me to Japan one time for a month, and then she came down to Louisville for like a month, and she'd come back for, you know, another few weeks. So she was always involved in the process, and she saw what it took to make it and stuff. But there was no guarantees, and the clock was ticking. And I remember, God, man, I was spending like my savings to survive, because I couldn't work in the U.S.
Yeah.
And if you get caught working in the U.S. without a work permit, you're gone, right? Like, it's like 5 or 10 years or something. And I was running out of money, and I was getting like Paul Heyman put me on OVW TV, and I was the only not unsigned guy in the developmental on the TV at the time.
Oh, wow.
So the eyes were on me,
and
it was just a race against the clock. Like, am I going to run out of money and I have to go home before I get signed? The
pressure.
I remember I had to cash in like retirement savings things, and I ran out of money. And like the next day I got the call. It was crazy. It was right to the wire. Yeah, right to the wire. And people even know that about me, where people will come up to me at a signing and say, "Is it true you ran out of your last penny the day before you got signed?" I'm like, the day before. I even borrowed $400 to get some food, and I got signed. And and that was like, whew. And people say like, "Oh, it must have been so cool fulfilling your dreams," or something. I say, yeah, fulfilling your dreams are pretty cool, but avoiding disaster is even better.
Yeah. Especially when you have a kid.
Yes. Yeah.
That had to be the pressure of that. Because like I said, you're very lighthearted, funny, all of that. But I can tell something like this, like how hard is that for you?
It was very hard. That was like being away from my daughter was probably, yeah, it was the hardest thing, really. And it's still there. It's always there. And it's like a black mark. We don't want to talk about it too much, but I still get choked up. It's crazy.
You
That's
mean,
why
yeah, do
when I
you
see
mean like,
students today, sorry, what?
no, what I mean, when you say black mark, is it because you weren't there for a period of her life?
Yeah, it was like 3 years where I was gone. But I came home and I said, hey, mission accomplished. High five, and then you're next. And she has her first tryout next week with WWE. So
She does?
yeah, 8th and 9th.
Oh my God, that is
Yeah.
so spectacular. I was wondering about this, if she was going to go after this or not.
Yeah, she's been training with me for like a year. But ever since she was a child, she showed exceptional signs, attributes that she's a natural. But, timing's everything. And she finished school and now she's training and she's matured.
Yeah.
And I'll be surprised if they don't take her. You can tell. You can just tell, right? The it factor.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, I've seen the it factor in her. Like I said, she's beautiful, but also it's that inside that spews. It's like you just have this infectious thing. So she's definitely got that from you.
Yeah,
How would
she's pretty
how would
bubbly.
it be for you? Like, here it is. Now, by the time this airs, SummerSlam will be done. So we know that Charlotte is going to go against Trish Stratus, which is awesome. But Ric Flair, like he's always been there watching Charlotte's career. How is that for you then to like be able to have that like Rick is having with Charlotte?
Oh man, it's I think when she's having her time there, I kind of want it to be private. Like I want to be in the booth watching and having fun like a dad instead of a character.
Yeah.
I'd like to, but it's definitely going to be fun. And now my son is 9 months old, and he's gonna hopefully, if she's still there in 10 years, he'll remember, right? That his sister was there wrestling.
Oh, wow. That's so cool.
Yeah. She saw me, and he gets to see her.
Yeah, that's so cool. My God, I see you tear up. Like it's special.
Yeah, it's because it's the sacrifice, and that's why you put so much into it. People don't get it. It's not, yeah, it's fun, but it's hard, man. You especially if you're, married and family and kids and everything.
Yeah.
And that's the bond that a lot of the guys have in the locker room, looking at each other's phones, going, look, just always talking about each other's kids, always talking about our kids.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
And because we're all suffering a little bit.
Yeah.
And then you tack on the extra guilt of you're doing something that it's fun and you like too,
Now, you said earlier you were going to say that you tell your students something. What is it that you tell your students about this?
Oh, I think of the sacrifices I made and the facility they have. Sometimes, not all of them, they're hardworking guys, but some of the guys that have so much potential and but they've been given too much, like the facilities in their backyard. There's connections with WWE that we have and Impact Wrestling that we have because of my career and stuff. So a little bit, some of them are spoiled. And I'm like, man, especially let's say this guy is not getting in shape. He doesn't have a six-pack. I'm like, I had to move in the other side of the world, away from my family. You can't stop eating cookies. So I'm a little hard on them that way. Like I demand a lot from them because I did it myself.
Yeah. What would you say though? Like you have Kevin Owens, for example, great wrestler, great on the mic. And he was on Chasing Glory and he talked about how his physique is just, he has tried and tried and tried and he just can't lose that weight. That's the way he's built.
Yeah. I mean, he is an anomaly and I actually use him as an example. And I'll say, because let's say someone says, oh, how about Kevin Owens? I go, okay, Kevin Owens is Kevin Owens. First of all, you're not Kevin Owens. He's awesome.
Yeah.
And you have a much better chance looking jacked than looking like Kevin Owens. Is it possible? Yes. But you want to have the greatest odds possible.
Yeah. And I know he even said it. He goes, if I could, I would.
Yeah, you can. But some people, you know what it is? The level, the extreme, like it's totally possible. But it just may be at such an extreme level that he can't fit that level in his life. For example, let's say you want to eat with your family and that's important to you.
Yeah.
Well, what are you going to have? Steamed asparagus and steamed tilapia? All your kids, you can't feed that to your kids.
Right.
Your kids want tasty food.
Right. I think for him, like you said, he's already made it. He's already a character. People accepted him the way he is. So there's really no pressure for him to put that much sacrifice on his body and work that hard to do that when he's already over the way he is.
Yeah. For him, he's already here. He's fine. He makes it work.
Yeah. And I also think that sometimes it's good in a way, we have all sorts of variety, right? On the show, even some of the women aren't all skinny. We've got some that are jacked, very muscular, and that's good though, right? It's got that variety. But I see what you're saying though, to tell your students, at least start with trying to look your best and then go from there. Yeah.
I mean, if you're a character that, like George the Animal Steel, did not need abs, that kind of stuff. So, but if you're kind of still finding your way, you might as well get yourself looking very aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
This is Chasing Glory with Lilian Garcia.
All right, guys, I hope that you're enjoying the show, and we will get right back to it. But look at my little friend. He's my little son, more like it. This is Colby. All right, if you guys can't see the show because you're not watching on YouTube, that's okay. But he is trying to attack these treats. Why? Because I'm going to talk about Cured Nutrition. And Cured Nutrition has dog treats. And Colby's going crazy because he can smell these, right? Look at him. Like he's like, I want that. All right. CBD, as we know, it really helps a lot of things. And one of the things that it helps for dogs is with anxiety. If your dog has anxiety, like Colby has kind of like right now, oh God, there you go. There you go. Now you can command the show. Then you can actually give them some of these CBD treats, and it really does calm them. If they have, like you're going away, for example, and they get anxiety because you're leaving for many, many hours, give your dog a little CBD treat, and it will calm them. If they have seizures, this helps a lot as well. So, like I said, there's a lot of things that the CBD can help a dog. Yeah, you'll agree with me, right? And they taste great. Again, other products that I've told you guys about as well are the tinctures, the oils, the nibbles, the creams, the balms. These are great for your muscles, and also the Rise and the Zen. You can take that, of course, and the Rise is in the morning, Zen at night, so that you can actually sleep better. And during the day, the Rise gives you that clarity that you're looking for. It gives you that spunk. It gives you so many things that it helps in your endocannabinoid system inside. So let me just tell you, just go to curednutrition.com and make sure you use the promo code GLORY, and that way you can find out more information about them and also get 15% off your products. That's 15% off every time you use the promo code GLORY. So that's curednutrition.com, promo code GLORY, curednutrition.com, promo code GLORY. All right, say goodbye, Colby. Back to the show.
Now, more Chasing Glory with Lilian Garcia.
How great has it been for you to have this school?
Oh yeah, it's kind of it takes up a lot of time. So it's like the nucleus of my day. It's always on our minds. My wife and I run it, and it's a lot. It's like you're almost on call, especially when you're a coach of athletes. They text you questions all the time, and there's a leak or someone didn't show up, so you're on call. But it's kind of better than getting yelled at from somebody else. Still, at least we're pushing our own pace. Yeah. No one's pushing us.
Has it been hard to work with her? Like husband, wife, that's sometimes hard.
Yeah, but my wife, she's awesome. She's we just complement each other. We're kind of, opposites attract, but we fill in the gaps for each other, and we work well as a team. But yeah, sometimes it being like 24/7 is much, but we've been like that for years and years and years, so we're okay with it.
So what would you say is the biggest, something that you've really gotten out of this school that you go, yep, it was a great idea to start this?
Yeah. So in the beginning, I'm thinking I want to open a business for me. I want to have a business that's up and running so that when my neck finally says that's enough, I have something there. And then I found out it's not about me. It's about these dreams that these kids have started here. Their seeds, you know, my 10-year-old, her name's Big D, and Big D is going to go to the Olympics. And this is for her now. This is her place to get better. And we have people that, you know, we have national champions in boxing and amateur wrestling. And I'm like on the back burner. It's not about me at all anymore. I just kind of keep it up and running, and I watch all these dreams unfold here.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a special place that when people look back in time, it's already a special place. But, you know, 20 years from now, people are going to remember Battle Arts. Yeah, Battle Arts, you know, and it's going to have an awesome legacy.
Is that fulfilling for you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Especially in my neighborhood. Like I came back home and opened this facility, and I'm home now. I love being home. I love it. I love it. It's you do need a little balance. So maybe to go away once every couple of weeks is good. Yeah. But I mean, gardening and cutting the grass, and we go bike riding and you know, a lot. I rode my bike today. I just couldn't do for so long. And before wrestling, I just kind of wasn't into that. I wasn't at that time in my life where I can go bike riding or garden and stuff.
I think also you didn't learn to really appreciate it like you do now. That's the thing. Before, it was just there, right? And then it's almost like it gets taken away, because even if you wanted to, you couldn't, because you're on the road all the time. Yeah. So now you're off the road. You're like, oh yeah, remember that bike riding thing that I used to put off? No, I want to do that now because I can.
Yeah, totally. It's a whole new. It's like I never went camping before. Now we got tents and stuff, and we go camping. Cool. Yeah, I went hunting. My wife and I got skis. Like, I mean, I didn't want to get hurt before, so I couldn't go snowboarding, because if I fell, I hurt my neck, you know. But now we try and do a lot of adventurous stuff and just live every day to its fullest, really.
That's all. But you had a recent match that you came back, like your comeback match.
Yeah, you know, I realized, because I still like it, right? And I can control how extreme my matches get. And people are still willing to pay me for it. So I think maybe once every couple of months, I'll go do a match if it's a location that I'd like to go to, and if it's someone I want to work. You know, I'm able to pick and choose the things I like to do, because I wouldn't be able to do more than that anyway. I'm very busy, but I can make room if something attractive comes up.
And you don't get scared that something might go wrong?
No. I'm pretty safe. Yeah.
That's good. So talk to me about when you found out that you couldn't wrestle anymore because of your neck.
Yeah, I knew it was coming, because I'd have flare-ups, and I saw a specialist years ago that said, well, you don't need surgery yet. And I'm like, it's not that bad. You know, I heard it in university, and it actually affected my judo career too near the end. It was really bad. So the whole career, I was protecting it, and I would do physio and traction. I'd travel on the road with the thing, stretch it out. And then the flare-ups just got worse, and they got kind of closer together until it was to a point I'm like, okay. Oh, one time I'm warming up for a match, and I fell asleep in the car for like a second, but my neck like this. And then I was warming up, and I'm like, I can't move it at all. If I move it any 1 centimeter any direction, it's like a nerve shock. Like, I couldn't move it. Wow. So I had to tell the doctor, I can't move my neck at all. And that was the last straw. And
so wait, did you have that match?
No, I couldn't. Yeah, I couldn't move my head at all. Like, it was stuck.
Was that at a live event or TV?
It was a live event, yeah.
And so they had to pull the match from the card.
Yeah, they switched up something to get in there. And then next day I had a collar on, and then we were like booking surgery. It just got like, I couldn't move at all. It was weird. If I did, it was like an electric shock.
You didn't wrestle after that?
No. So we had the surgery, and then the expectation was that I was going to come back from it. And then there was like a freak accident where a couple screws from the titanium plate came out, and they were loosening, and like one turned, and if it punctured my neck from the inside, it would have been really bad. So this is after 3 months after surgery, so they had to cut and go in again and take out the titanium and the screws. So that one, I think, really messed it up worse. And if we didn't have to go back in, I think it would have been I'm hoping it would have been okay. But after that, it just never got well enough, and to go in there and take bumps and stuff like that, fall back and have a quick sudden stop. And that was okay.
So speak to me about the moment that you found out that was it. You couldn't wrestle anymore, how that felt, because one thing is leaving on your own terms. And one thing is, like Edge, like Paige, being told that's it. You can't anymore. Stone Cold.
Yeah. Well, I guess I was kind of in charge of that realization where, it's been a couple of years and I thought I was getting better. Then I kind of tripped and I just put my hand down and I felt something. It just didn't feel good at all. And I ended up calling the WWE and saying, I'm waiting just like you guys to see if this is going to get better. And I'm like, it's not getting better, man. It's been 2 years and I don't think I can wrestle anymore. So then we were talking about a non-physical role, like a general manager or something like that. And that was the plan. So all the time you have during your injury, they can add that on to your contract. So I was off for like 2 years. And my contract would have been expired by that time. But I figured, okay, I have 2 more years because I've been off for 2 years. And that's what they told me. And then one day they called and said, yeah, we're not going to exercise our option to extend it. So your contract's kind of up next month.
Wow.
And it was like, oh, man, it was crazy. It was just I remember I was in the backyard and just the clarity of the sound. It was so weird. The sound of my neighborhood just kicked in. And I was like, man, I'm me again. Like, I felt like I snapped out of this time warp and I'm like, I'm me again. I'm Anthony again. And it was like nice to be back. I just went on this adventure, just came back and I was me again. And it was really interesting. And I was ready for it. I was prepared and the gym was up and running and it was a nice, actually pretty smooth transition. I got a job on Sportsnet almost immediately on Aftermath and working on my national presence in Canada. Because, a lot of Canadians didn't know I was Canadian, right? I was Santino from Italy. And, and all of a sudden, I see people here, they're like, what are you doing in Mississauga? I'm like, I'm born and raised here, man. And they're like, what's wrong with your voice? And it was pretty, and it was actually a really good transition.
You know what I think the biggest lesson that you did that you can, right now extend to others is get something else. Like you got your school just in case something does get taken from you with a simple injury or something, you have something to fall back on.
Yeah. And you know what? Wrestling should not be your whole life. You should have something before and you should plan to have something after.
Yeah.
And hopefully you can capitalize on some popularity that you get from being on TV. So for example, let's say you're going to have a 4-year run, 5-year run. You're not going to make enough money to live on the rest of your life. So you got to be thinking of post-life and definitely pre-life, do sports, take music, arts, have a job, have a career, a little career before. There's like one guy, he used to be at OVW and he was an electrician or was it plumber? Anyway, he finished his trade.
Yeah.
And when his developmental contract was done, nobody was worried about him. He's an electrician.
Right.
He has a life. And I think Paul Burchill became a paramedic right after. And they transitioned to life and it really, really helps. So, plan ahead.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But what would you say to those that have such a hard time with transition because they have wrapped their entire identity as to who they were in the ring. And then when that's done, seriously, they just spiral down.
Yeah, that's why you have to build life skills, man, coming up. I mean, if you don't have them, what are you going to do? Conventions and signings? And that's just, I don't want to be that guy that is, I don't want to go down that because you've seen it. It can be pretty sad, right?
Oh, it's bad.
It's pretty bad. So, and in that movie that came out, The Wrestler, that was, a lot of people were like, that's kind of realistic. And nobody wanted to really say it, but there are those, not everybody, but there are cases like that. And there's guys I know, and we've talked about with other wrestlers in the past, wondering what that guy's going to do because he doesn't know anything besides pro wrestling or girls or even wrestlers that's got hired at 18.
Yeah.
And they grew up there. How can you even expect them to do anything after? They'd have never had a job,
Right. I know that's a scary thing to think about, but I think that's why it's so important to talk about it for sure and bring it to the forefront and tell people definitely expand. All right. Going back to your childhood, I want to know something because at one time or another, there are some difficult times that we go through. And a little part of my goal with this show is to help those that might be struggling through something right now and maybe how to figure it out. We've talked about bullying. We've talked about, things that happen like really bad early on sometimes and how to move past that. What would you say? Is there any struggle that you dealt with growing up?
You know what? Not really, man. I was blessed with my parents. I mean, yeah, my dad was laid off one time, and we had pasta for dinner, and we had to cut some things. But my parents were both hardworking. They're still together. They're still alive, and I had really good role models.
Wow.
We were never, and we live in Canada. We never really had a heavy struggle where we didn't know if we were going to have a roof over our head and stuff. Yeah, I'm pretty blessed in that sense. I mean, North America is again, the right time, the right
Yeah.
people, the right place. I've been pretty blessed.
But that shows you how important it is to have such a stable home like that and to have parents that are in your lives that are supporting that for you.
Yeah, and I'm lucky because there's parents that don't give a crap, right?
I know.
Or sometimes they give a crap, but they're screw ups.
Yeah.
And and I even just explained to my daughter one time. I go, see some of the kids in your class, they're like weirdos or they're troublemakers. They're going to be parents too one day. Like they're going to have kids too.
Yeah.
So man, you don't realize how good you have it until you get out there and see the rest of the world. Like we're not too poor, we're not too rich, we're just right, middle class. My dad was a construction worker, my mom worked at the bank, and just perfect. I wouldn't have it any other way. In fact,
Go ahead.
I try and people that even if you're making a lot of money, you don't have to go crazy and get that big house, man. Just nice and easy, humble, put the ego aside. And I was able to put my ego aside too. Like the whole celebrity thing never really appealed to me at all. And even some people, they see me at the gym, like sometimes cleaning the bathrooms, and they're like, you're a superstar. You shouldn't be seen cleaning the bathrooms. I'm like, the opposite. People need to see that. Oh, look at this guy. He still cleans the bathrooms.
That's great.
That's the message, right?
Wow. That's a beautiful message. Beautiful message. I always say no job is above the other. I don't like it when people when they'll say, well, I want to be more than just a, right? I hate the word just a in front of any job title because I think that every job has a purpose. And if it's like you are earning a really good paycheck or, a paycheck for a job, that's respectable right there.
Yeah. And sometimes it's funny because okay, I worked in an office building before I worked for the telecom company. And this guy, Nazir, had the little convenience store coffee stand. And these people would come down in suits and, and they looked at little Nazir from Tanzania like he was a little bit below them. Nazir making those coffees made double what you make in the suit. You know what I mean? You can't judge a book by its cover either. If you're willing to do the work, there's you can make a lot of money, man. Like even in another life, I would have been very happy as a carpenter. Something like that, It's just, there's a lot of jobs, restaurant work, cooking. I love that. I love that kind of stuff.
Wow. Speak to me about mixed martial arts. I mean, you love it so much now. You're doing calls, like you're commentating for it.
Yeah. We do all the martial arts and sports that make up mixed martial art. We got wrestling, amateur wrestling, judo, which I coach, boxing, Muay Thai, jiu-jitsu, and I didn't want to get in too much to the MMA side in the beginning, but now that our kids that do our sports are growing up, all of a sudden we got all these kids that are very capable.
Yeah.
So the future is interesting, and I love being around it. Combative sports, watching young athletes train and overcome mental hurdles and prepare, and they're learning such valuable lessons. And through sport, dedication, hard work, all that kind of stuff, and those are all going to be transferable to the professional world when you're older. But you learn so much. I swear, we really need to promote sport culture in North America. Every kid should have a sport if they can, or something like arts,
Yeah.
music and acting and sculpting, whatever. But the kids got to be way more involved than how they are right now, kind of like Fortnite and all that stuff.
Oh, you're talking about video games.
Yeah, just the
Yeah.
culture in general. If everyone was into sports, you'd be healthier, you'd be happier, you'd be less violent. I mean, sports is really the remedy for so many problems in society today. So we
I
need to
agree.
make it cool. We need to make hard work cool.
Yeah, hard work, cool. I love that. Need to make hard work cool. That is so true because you get a sense of just feeling so fulfilled when you work so hard at something and you achieve something. What I like
100%.
about sports is also the team building that it does.
Yes. Yeah, I think even that's kids should always do one team sport and one individual sport. So you learn to work well with others, but also you get that intimate relationship with yourself.
Yeah.
And before I won the national championships, I came second place 4 times.
Oh,
And
wow.
it was like the perfect story, like finally made it. And that's what I mean. I've had all these crazy scenarios that just guided me through this very, very blessed life. I can't complain.
I wish I could see you on a sitcom though.
Yeah, yeah.
You're so funny. You tried that, didn't you?
We did a pilot. Oh my God. So I did a pilot myself and showed it to Vince, and Vince loved it and said, we're going to make like a proper pilot now.
Okay.
And the writer that he assigned to do the proper pilot, he like broke his hip, and then he got better, and then he had Lyme disease, and then he got better. Then his
Oh.
father passed away, and then he came back to work, and now he's supposed to write a sitcom. This guy's been through all this trauma. So the pilots they did, they were not funny at all. They were horrible, and then they were so bad it didn't even happen. But like
Oh.
my pilot was way better.
Oh, did that crush you a little bit?
I just thought that, you know what? And David Gewirtz had an idea. He wanted to do it like a Curb Your Enthusiasm
Yeah.
type thing with the movie. I wanted to do it like a Disney canned laughter, really, basic old school sitcom. And so we had a little bit of a disagreement with how it should have looked, but my way would have worked for sure.
I don't know if you heard, but The Big Show now has its own sitcom that's going to be coming out on Netflix.
Come on.
Yep.
I did not know that. That's crazy.
Yep. It's going to be coming out. It just got announced
What's
recently.
the name?
I don't know the name of it yet. No,
Oh my
I didn't
God.
catch that. If it's out, I didn't catch that. But yeah, it's WWE and Netflix are doing it apparently together.
Is he playing
So
like a human or like an ogre?
that I don't, I don't know. But
Yeah,
the whole time
it's
I hear
funny.
sitcom, I always go, it should be Santino, sitcom. Yes, it goes together. But you never know. Look, you got in late into wrestling. You never know what's going to happen in your life.
Yeah, there's a lot of actors that break out in their 50s. I did some stuff for Treehouse last year. It was a kids show. It's called Miss Persona, and the director's a wrestling fan. So basically, my name was Alfredo, but I was just talking like Santino, and they were loving it. So you never know. Maybe Alfredo is going to do some more episodes.
Oh, that would be great.
I would love to do kids TV.
You need to do that. That's the thing, is because you're so perfect for that it's great what you're doing at Battle Arts. I think it's spectacular, but I don't want to lose you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have such a gift to connect with people that seeing you on something like that would be amazing.
Yeah, that'd be pretty fun. I should even, yeah. I love my kids. I got my little army of little children at the gym. They're so funny. They all got nicknames and everything.
You should pursue that. Why
I
not
love
put a
being a coach.
pilot together with those kids?
Yeah, I guess we can brainstorm some ideas.
I'm telling you, you got to make that happen. This is your continued chase for glory. All right, you've been fascinating. And as we wrap this up, I want to ask you, I love to get people's perspective. Has your chase for glory looked the way you thought it was going to look?
Oh, wow. Kind of, a little bit. I didn't know. I mean, the character Swerve what was something. And no, I guess not. No, I thought I was going to go to Japan and get popular there and come over. But I guess the thing I'm saying is, I believed it so much that it was going to happen, and it did happen. So that sense, there was no other option. It was going to happen. So it did happen. So in that sense, it kind of turned out. But the way it turned out, the journey was definitely different. Yeah.
Would you change any of it?
No, I wouldn't.
Like it's even those 3 years that you lost with her. I know it sure is tough, but think about the lesson that you taught her too
Oh
by
yeah,
that.
yeah. That's why I know she's gonna make it, because she knows what it takes.
The sacrifice. I can't wait to hear how that tryout goes.
Oh my God.
Be incredible. Wish her
Yeah.
luck for us.
I will, for sure. Yeah. And you know what? If it doesn't happen this time, it's gonna happen. It's
Yeah.
undeniable.
Yeah. Hey, it's the timing, right? It's got to be, it's not our timing. And you went to Catholic school, like I'm
Yeah.
Catholic. It's what we say is God's time, not our time.
Yeah. No, I was telling my daughter, I said, hurry up and main event WrestleMania so they'll put me in the Hall of Fame.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. I think you deserve to be in the Hall of Fame for sure.
Well, when I'm older, I'm still young.
Oh man. Well, I can't wait to, continue to follow your career, and just want to thank you. Let everybody know how we find you on social media.
Oh, on Twitter, it's Milan Miracle, and Instagram, it's the Milan Miracle. And yeah, that's it.
And the Battle Arts, good luck with that. I think it's
Thanks.
spectacular.
Yeah.
And
I hope to be working with WWE in the future with some capacity, like a developmental NXT North type thing. So, I'm putting those vibes out there. So,
that'd be good.
Yeah.
That would be really good.
Because I really like coaching. I never thought I'd like coaching. I really like coaching and producing, actually. So, it seems like the next logical step.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. Have you been talking to any of them about that?
I've been instrumental in developing the tryout here in Canada with them. So we have some dialogue.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to see where that goes. So thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Chasing Glory with Lilian Garcia.
And there you have Santino Marella's journey of chasing glory. Okay, now you guys can see how much I love him, why I love him. If you guys don't know him, keep following him. And if you do, you've learned a little bit more about him, just like I did. There's a lot of things in this interview that I had no idea about. So Santino, thank you for sharing that. And I'm so excited to see if your daughter makes the WWE. That is so incredible. She's awesome, guys. Wait till you meet her. Eventually, no matter what, she will be in this organization. I know it. And you're going to fall in love with her just like I did. So the whole family, incredible. I'm talking already about his, 9-month-old or getting into wrestling. That's awesome. Anyway, Santino, thank you so much. Thank you guys for watching the show. Make sure that you go to youtube.com/Lilian Garcia, subscribe to the show. It will alert you as to when the next episode drops. Thank you for listening to the show wherever you get all your podcasts, including the Chasing Glory app. That's right. You can just have an app on the phone. So easy to access. And make sure you follow us on Instagram at Chasing Glory Podcast on Instagram, at Lilian Garcia on Instagram and Twitter, and Lilian Garcia official fan page on Facebook. And those bite-sized Thursdays are coming very soon. I'll let you guys know all about that later on. But for now, much peace, love, and passion. And remember, guys, always be yourself and trust that it's enough. See ya. Love you.
Thanks for joining us here on Chasing Glory from executive producer Lilian Garcia. Don't forget to share this episode with your friends and be sure to subscribe at Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your favorite shows.